at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like it's a tap. Like, he's got a tap, just like unlimited amount of money. Money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever. Like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
that's tough.
He have it, but he really don't. He really don't have that spark how he was when he was in it. You know, like him going back and fighting and stuff like that. I think that shit fucked him up.
Whatever could happen if the guy gets beat up by Manny Pacquiao, right? It creates a tough situation. I feel like that was the bigger story, but is Floyd broke? What a stupid question. Are you a stupid person? Of course he's broke. He's a boxer.
Joe Rogan recently discussed a potential rematch between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao alongside Gervonta Davis. During the conversation, Davis made it clear that many of today's high-profile fights are no longer about pushing the sport forward. Instead, he argued they are primarily money-driven events, designed to generate massive paydays rather than showcase competitive, meaningful boxing. The discussion highlights a growing concern within the boxing world, whether big-name rematches and exhibition bouts are helping the sport evolve, or simply turning it into entertainment-focused business.
Well, the industry world is just it's trash, bro.
Joe Rogan also gave credit where it's due, praising Floyd Mayweather Jr. for how well he has maintained himself after retirement. Rogan highlighted that Mayweather has stayed active, kept his speed, and remained extremely disciplined with his training and lifestyle. Even years after stepping away from professional boxing, Floyd continues to move like an elite-level athlete and keeps his body in outstanding condition. According to Rogan, that level of consistency and self-discipline is rare, especially for fighters who have already achieved everything in the sport.
In his body, and also that mindset of what he learned when he was incarcerated.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. has managed to stay competitive even after retirement, largely because of his discipline and lifestyle choices. Unlike many fighters who slow down after leaving the sport, Mayweather avoids unhealthy habits and sticks to a strict routine. He continues to train regularly, watches his diet, and keeps his body in peak condition. This consistency allows him to maintain key attributes like speed, stamina, and sharp reflexes, qualities that defined his career in the first place. It's the same discipline that Joe Rogan pointed out, noting that Mayweather's ability to stay in shape isn't accidental. It's the result of years of controlled habits and a professional mindset that never really switched off.
Everything. Discipline, never knowing you're never going back to that. Don't buy anything stupid. Don't be dumb with your money. Don't be dumb with your body. Take care of yourself. Never get out of shape. Always keep your conditioning up. So when you go into camp, you're not struggling to get back in shape again. You're already in shape. Now you're just working on your skills and honing everything to a razor sharp.
Max Kellerman also weighed in, pointing out that Floyd Mayweather Jr. still displays elite-level defense and impressive hand speed, even years after retirement. Kellerman believes that if Mayweather were to face Manny Pacquiao again, the fight could still be exciting. While both fighters are past their primes, their styles and history would naturally bring intrigue and attention. His take adds to the growing conversation that, despite age and inactivity at the professional level, elite fighters like Mayweather can still deliver entertaining performances, especially in high-profile rematches.
I think I would have always favored Mayweather to win the fight. The point is that because it happened after its expiration date, we will never have the actual answer. You and I might agree, Mayweather was too long, too good a boxer, naturally bigger guy and better defense. But we will never actually know the answer to that question because we never got to see it 5 years earlier. Now, Shady makes the point, Malik, that this is not like Crawford Canelo, and it's not. But it's also not exactly like Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
There's nowhere near
Right?
that stuff.
So
We ain't
what
even gonna
is
put
it?
with
What are we, because Netflix doesn't seem to care if this is more of kind of a carnival
money.
or an exhibition, or if it's like the greatest, biggest fight in the world. What they're looking for are eyeballs, right? Where does this fall? Mayweather and Pacquiao on the most legitimate Crawford Canelo side of the spectrum, or the kind of sideshow Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Gervonta Davis believes that a potential rematch between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao is largely driven by financial motives. From his perspective, fights like these are less about competition or advancing the sport and more about generating massive revenue. With both Mayweather and Pacquiao being global icons, even an exhibition or late career rematch would attract huge pay-per-view numbers and worldwide attention. Davis's comments reflect a broader sentiment among some fighters that modern boxing is increasingly shaped by business opportunities rather than purely competitive matchups.
So that, you know, I mean,
He need the money. I'm telling you.
does he have a chance to win though?
Top Rank ain't playing like that, and they ain't playing like that.
So you don't
see. They ain't playing like.
Chael Sonnen pushed back on the criticism, arguing that the conversation around money in boxing is often unfair. He pointed out that every professional, regardless of the field, works to earn a living. From his perspective, Floyd Mayweather Jr. continuing to take fights, whether exhibitions or rematches, is simply a reflection of that reality. Boxing is still Mayweather's profession, and as long as there's demand and opportunity, it makes sense for him to capitalize on it. Sonnen's take adds balance to the debate, suggesting that while fans may question the competitive value of such fights, the financial motivation behind them is completely normal.
Why do you get up every day and go to work? Why are you going to your job next week? Why will you be at your job the week after that? Because you need the money. What's wrong with that? And why are we attempting to tease Floyd? Is Floyd Mayweather? Yes, he's broke. Of course he's broke. He's a boxer. That they say can't read. That's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said that he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He was a guy who grew up in a boxing channel, right? It's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. I didn't teach him about contracts. I didn't teach him about saving. I didn't teach him about investments. Who would have taught him these things? Of course he's broke. He's a gambling addict. He got baby mamas all over the... What do you mean is he broke? Of course.
Manny Pacquiao, however, sees things from a different angle. He believes that a victory in a potential rematch with Floyd Mayweather Jr. would go beyond money or entertainment. Pacquiao has said that winning such a fight could inspire the next generation of fighters. In his view, it would showcase the value of determination, discipline, and ambition, qualities that young boxers need as they enter the professional world. For Pacquiao, the fight represents not just a payday, but an opportunity to leave a lasting message about perseverance and dedication in boxing.
This is a very good inspiration for the young kids. Not only to all the boxers, but also to the people who have dream. Even though I'm 46, if you're still dreaming in your life, you can make it.
Few things resonate more deeply than watching someone defy the odds and triumph. For many fans, and especially for Filipinos, Manny Pacquiao embodies hope, pride, and the possibility of rising above it all.
During the discussion, Floyd Mayweather Jr. explained that a rematch with Manny Pacquiao wouldn't really affect either fighter's legacy. In his view, both of them have already secured their place in boxing history through years of elite performances and major victories. Mayweather also reminded listeners that he clearly won their first fight and believes he still looks physically sharp compared to many retired fighters. Because of that, he sees a second bout not as a career-defining clash, but more as a spectacle, an event built on legacy, entertainment, and fan interest rather than something that would change how either of them is remembered.
But if Pacquiao were to beat Floyd in this exhibition or fight or whatever they're going to call it, do you think It shouldn't. But do you think that affects either one of their legacies?
Not at all.
No,
That's
we talking about grandfathers.
Not true.
We talking about grandfathers fighting each other. That's what we talking about.
It's not. Come
on, man.
Wait. I said, it's the zero line. Little bit.
No.
I'm not saying it's a transformative thing, but to say it doesn't affect it at all is probably not right, and I'll tell you why. Because if Pacquiao should win, for example, there will be those who say, well, when Mayweather beat him the first time, they were both past their primes. Certainly Pacquiao, who had been destroyed by Marquez, right, knocked out, was not the world-beating terror. Yeah, and the rotator cuff, but he was a world-beating terror 5 years before that when he was running.
At the same time, it's acknowledged that public perception could shift slightly depending on the outcome. If either fighter were somehow defeated, some fans might start revisiting their first bout, questioning the timing and circumstances of that matchup. Critics could argue that when they fought initially, both were already past their absolute prime, and some might recall previous setbacks, like a devastating knockout loss, that may have affected momentum going into the fight. Still, the point is emphasized that boxing history for both Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao is already written. Their accomplishments across multiple divisions cannot be erased by a late-career exhibition-style fight. Even if the result surprises the public, their legendary status in the sport remains intact.
So Cotto and Hatton and beating them worse than Floyd was beating them, right? That's when we wanted to see the fight happens 5 years later. So people will point to that and say, and then when they were much older than that, but the first fight wasn't like...
They both was in their prime.
Yeah, and neither was it lopsided.
It wasn't lopsided.
Floyd Mayweather won decisively, but he'll even tell you that was one of his trickiest fights.
That's the only reason why I think it shouldn't be a second fight, because to me, Floyd handled him so easy.
But think about what
I know
Max said.
Pacquiao said otherwise.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if Pacquiao wins a rematch, because I agree, it's like with an asterisk, but if he does that, it will affect people's thinking a little bit. Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, it's not nearly the same. They were in their 30s, not their 80s or whatever these guys are in now, but Hearns got Leonard in the rematch, even though it was called a draw, and people look at Hearns a little differently vis-a-vis Sugar Ray Leonard than they did before that fight.
But that was more competitive, I would say. Floyd hasn't fought.
During his analysis, Luke Thomas explains that modern entertainment platforms constantly push massive amounts of content to keep audiences engaged. He notes that this non-stop stream can make events feel less special and slightly dull. According to Thomas, many people are now drawn toward nostalgia because earlier eras of sports and entertainment felt more vibrant and memorable. While he admits this observation is mostly personal rather than based on hard data, he argues that modern life has a way of making the past seem more exciting and appealing. When discussing potential rematch between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao, Thomas emphasizes that the real motivation behind such fights often stems from business. He explains that companies like Netflix are eager to enter the live sports market and pairing two globally recognized names, even years past their primes, can attract a massive audience and generate significant revenue.
Consequence, everything feels a little dull. I don't know, but there just appears to be a great need among the broader public for nostalgia and for a different time, because that time felt more alive and colorful. I don't have hard data to support this. This is very much an anecdotal observation, but I do think it is true. There is something off generally about modern life that is making the past more palatable than the present. But reason number 3 is the one I actually really want to focus in on. I asked earlier, why is this fight being made? And the answer is, on some level, relatively obvious. As I mentioned, they're broke, blah, blah, blah. But the other one is like, why is Netflix making this? Well, they want to get into the big live event business, and Floyd still has some popularity, Manny still has some popularity, and then together, they might be bigger than the sum of their parts individually, certainly at this.
Luke Thomas also highlights how streaming has changed the economics of boxing. In the past, fans had to pay high pay-per-view prices to watch major fights. For instance, the original Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Manny Pacquiao bout in 2015 cost around $100, creating a significant barrier for many viewers. With fights now appearing on streaming platforms like Netflix, millions of subscribers can watch without paying extra. This lower barrier, Thomas argues, shifts promoter priorities toward recognizable names rather than competitive matchups. He cites events involving Jake Paul and Mike Tyson as examples where massive audiences tuned in despite widespread criticism of the fight's quality. According to Thomas, this trend raises a critical question. Are streaming platforms genuinely improving boxing? Or are they just producing spectacle events that attract attention without delivering meaningful competition for fans?
This fight were on pay-per-view, I don't know if it would get made. I mean, in the end, it might. It might actually get made because these guys need money. There might be enough people who buy it to kind of make it work, or to, at a bare minimum, get an investor to put the money up. They lose their money, but some effort at making it is possible. But that would be a much harder slog. Be a much harder slog. This fight doesn't have that problem. You don't have to pay for pay-per-view. Yes, you have to have a Netflix subscription, but a lot of people do. It's the biggest streaming platform in the world. The incentive structure in place, created by streaming platforms that are just looking for big name value, what will get people to tune in, what is a pairing that is available, just based on contractual availability.
During his discussion, Chael Sonnen explains that the financial numbers often cited in boxing aren't always what they seem. According to Sonnen, fighters can earn massive paydays, but the structure of boxing finances is complex and often misunderstood by the public. Even though Floyd Mayweather Jr. reportedly earned enormous sums during his career, Sonnen suggests the actual financial reality behind the scenes can differ significantly from the image presented to fans. Sonnen also addresses claims involving Mayweather and Showtime, where Mayweather argued that the network didn't fully honor an agreement. Sonnen notes that public sympathy for Mayweather can be limited because similar disputes have arisen in other contexts. For example, controversies emerged regarding payment issues involving Logan Paul after his exhibition bout with Mayweather, illustrating how complex and opaque fight finances can be.
Yeah, of course Floyd's broke. Would you be boxing if you weren't? And it's very tough to be sympathetic to Floyd. So Floyd is arguing that he was robbed by Showtime. That he had a deal that Showtime didn't argue. He's arguing this. And who's making that argument and where that goes? I'm just sharing, like, in public opinion, it's very hard to be sympathetic towards Floyd when Floyd, as a promoter, stiffed Logan Paul. Like, to argue this guy in boxing cheated me and I trusted him, when it's being argued that you, who were the trusted one, cheated another guy. It's very tough. And by the way, there's also headlines out there. Floyd Mayweather owes Logan Paul $1.3 million. No, he doesn't. Just to clear that up, no.
According to Chael Sonnen, much of the public misunderstanding comes from how boxing promotions are structured. He explains that the reported debt was tied to a promotional company rather than Floyd Mayweather Jr. personally. In boxing, promotional companies operate as separate legal entities, meaning financial obligations often fall on the company rather than the fighter himself. Sonnen emphasizes that this setup makes boxing economics extremely complex, even for experienced observers. He also points out that multiple fight announcements can create complications. For instance, if a promoter schedules an event, such as one involving Mike Tyson, announcing another fight beforehand can disrupt business arrangements. When Mayweather later announced a fight with Manny Pacquiao, it added further complications for other potential matchups. In Sonnen's view, this illustrates how unpredictable and intricate the boxing industry can be. Contracts, promotions, and scheduling often overlap, making it difficult for fans to fully grasp the financial and organizational realities behind major fights involving figures like Mayweather, Pacquiao, and Tyson.
Owes Logan $1.3 million, and no, of course he's not going to get it. That promotion's already shut down. Allegedly, by the way, yes. But I'm just sharing with you, like, no, it's not the same thing. It's an entity. Floyd didn't know what was going on. And Logan's a very smart guy. It's not like he ever would have trusted Floyd to know what's going on, but he trusted Floyd's people, and you do take a level of risk, and, you think you're dealing with an honorable guy. It's one of these things, and Floyd didn't know where the money was. I don't suggest for you that Floyd grabbed the money and ran off and kept it from Logan. Floyd didn't know where the money was. There's very few people that understand the economics of boxing, by the way. It's a very complicated thing. Would you like to explain it to me? You're a big boxing aficionado. Would you like to explain to me the economics of boxing? It's a very confusing thing. Which is one of the reasons that it's very easy for somebody to be skimming. It's a very easy thing to...
Wade Plemons highlights that Floyd Mayweather Jr. could be risking his flawless professional legacy by agreeing to a rematch. Mayweather's unbeaten record and years of disciplined performances are a central part of his identity in boxing history. Plemons notes that stepping back into a high-profile fight introduces genuine risk. A single unexpected moment in the ring could alter how fans and historians view his legacy. While the financial incentives and media attention may be enticing, Plemons stresses that the decision carries real consequences. Returning to competition demonstrates Mayweather's confidence, but also forces him to safeguard the spotless record that cemented his status as one of the sport's most successful and celebrated champions.
11 years later, when both men are about to hit 50, here we are. Okay, that's the hype of this. That's the interest of it, right? Two of the biggest names in the history of the sport. They're both old. We get that. But they're both doing this in a pro fight. This will not be an exhibition. It'll be a pro fight. So it is going to go on someone's record. Could Manny actually take Floyd's O away? And here I am getting drug into this thing. And you know what? I'm not even mad about it because I understand what it is. It's not going to be the highest level of fight between these two. And I don't think it sullies their name any worse than what Floyd was doing with John Gotti III. No offense to top 3 black person of all time, but Deji, some other fights that no one really watched or cared about. Floyd did that to himself, but he still has the drawing power across from his greatest rival in Manny Pacquiao to make this an interesting fight. And again, it's
Another analyst emphasizes that for Floyd Mayweather Jr., boxing is still a profession, and that reality doesn't change with age or past accomplishments. Work, in this sense, is work, and everyone, including Mayweather, must earn a living. Despite his legendary status and retirement, Mayweather still has responsibilities and financial obligations, which make staying active in the sport a practical necessity. While fans may critique his decision to return from a professional standpoint, he is simply fulfilling his role and ensuring he can meet his financial commitments. Boxing remains both his livelihood and his craft.
You know what he used to go through and used to eat back in Kazakhstan or wherever the hell? Man, look, was he doing it for the money? Hell yeah. That's how you go in. That's how you can't go in. But the perception is, oh, okay, look at this young, hungry fighter. Yes, young, hungry. And then all of a sudden you're supposed to get fat and full and not want to do it again? Tell you right now, if Canelo said, Triple G, let's do it again for the 4th time. I don't care how much money Triple G got. It shouldn't be a social pressure that, oh, what's wrong, Triple G? Why are you fighting him again? You know, we ain't doing that to Canelo because we like, well, Canelo still want it. Canelo still got it. Canelo's still going. What if Canelo need the money? Who cares if you need it? You can get it. Dog, don't let somebody talk you out of your money because they say, what you doing it for? What you doing it for? Oh, you lost sight of it. So you're supposed to hate money now if your name is Money Mayweather. I understand y'all like, well, that ain't why he doing it. You don't know that. It sounds good, you'll win the barbershop. Trust me, everybody gonna be clapping and laughing at you when you're there. But you don't really in your gut, gun to your head know that. You just saying that's the narrative. How about this? What if his accountant called him and say, Floyd, we only got 100 left. Only 100 million? Yeah. But guess what? Jake Paul just made that in one night. Got his jaw dislocated, but hey, what's up? I got a call from my boy, CEO of Netflix. He said, is Floyd still training? That's how they do it. You never know.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.